Hello, Oakwood artist. It is Wednesday, August 12th, 2020. It is our 76th day of making art together. That's a mighty long time. So welcome back. If you tuned in yesterday, you know we were working on perspective, perspective in nature, out in the world, perspective, outdoor perspective, and I made an attempt at a railroad track. You can see if you were tuned in yesterday, I didn't get any further, didn't work on this at all. But that vantage point of looking straight down parallel lines that vanished into the distance into my vanishing point. So I found a great image and wanted to share it with you. It's just from a magazine or a catalog, sorry, calendar. And it has that same perspective that I was going for, looking at something straight, head on, a road, and it verges back into the distance into a vanished point. So it gives the illusion that it disappears, but we know it doesn't. We know if we walk down this path or this lane, that it would keep on going until that road came to an end, and it probably goes on a very long way. But our eyes and perspective play a trick on us and give us that illusion that with distance, and the further something gets away, the smaller and smaller and smaller, and the tinier and tinier and tinier it gets until it vanishes. And it really doesn't. It may just keep on going forever. But that's what we're able to see from the distance. Found a couple of other images because we're going to be working on making a house today. So we're really looking at parallel lines and vanishing points on the horizon and matching roof lines up, things like that. So I found this Impressionism book, and a lot of it, and of course I just took all my bookmarks out. I don't know why I did that, but now I'll just go through it quickly and try to find my images I wanted to share with you today. Well, here's one. This is not the one I wanted to start with, but here it is. So it gives us a couple of planes. So not the typical vanishing point images I'd wanted to share with you, but that it also, here's parallel line here, space in between. So this is really following, they're following a vanishing point, or that these are really going off into the distance as well. And so this one appears a little bit smaller than the front one, but these railings really are the same size. So I just thought it was a nice use of perspective there. And that's Morisot. And some of the images I have found are Monet, if I can find them. Monet liked to paint out in nature. He was a plein air painter. And so meaning that he painted what he saw out in nature. Here's another one on perspective that I really liked. So it's a bridge, a train bridge, and there are these columns here, maybe made of concrete, maybe made of something else, but here they appear very large, and then as they get away from the bank, which I'm sure he was painting over in here on the bank, they appear to get smaller. Now we know that through modern engineering and engineering from throughout time, that if these were much, much smaller and thinner, this bridge might collapse. So these are all identically the same size, but our eyes play that trick, dimension plays that trick, that illusion, that the further something gets away from us, the smaller it becomes. And I believe Monet has captured it really well right here. Even the bridge, it's slight, but you can see the thickness of the bridge here, and gradually it gets a little bit narrower across as it goes. And it's all just an illusion. I wanted to show you some of his rooftops in here. His art is mixed in with other Impressionists, so my bookmarks would have been very, very helpful. Okay, here I wanted to show you this one, that roof lines can be very, very different. So this one follows a certain vanishing point, would be a vanishing point out here in the distance, but then it has this rooftop here that is perpendicular to it, so it meets up with it. Many of our houses today have lots of peaks. I think builders think the more interesting peaks you have, the more peaks you have, the more interesting and dynamic your house can be. However, my husband thinks a very simple, basic roof is what you need and would never buy a house that had lots of peaks in it or any angles in the roof. So it's pretty boring and basic for us living in our houses. So that was another one I wanted to show you. And I don't know that I'm going to find the other one. There was another one with many rooftops, but you get the point. You've seen plenty of rooftops. You know what I'm talking about. And we're doing a very basic one. I'm not going to design a house. I'm just going to draw a simple building here. I'm going to create a horizon line. This one I'm going to add a little dimension to it instead of using my ruler. I am still going to, let's see, I'm going to draw, how am I going to do this? I'm going to draw my house here, and I'm going to make my vanishing point over here. Now, do you have to put that vanishing point? No, you don't have to do that. But you have to have somewhere up, you know, your line, you want your lines to match up if you're doing more technical drawing, or if you're drawing a house or a building. Does it have to be symmetrical? It does, or have straight lines? Lines that make sense? Absolutely not. You can paint and draw in any way that you prefer. You don't have to have perspective that is straight, where that matches a vanishing point. And again, my old problem of I can't draw a straight line. So again, last week we started with earlier this week we started with the box. So it started with a rectangle. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run my vanishing point from the bottom of that rectangle. Put my book underneath me here. This up a little higher. I'm going to run it from the bottom of my image down here in the corner. In fact, I think I'm going to not set it right on the bottom of the page. I don't really like that. So I'm going to have more of a square house. So I've got my square there. I'm going to erase these lines later. And I'm going to put a roof on it. A very simple, like my husband would like, roof. A very tall roof. I don't think a builder would put necessarily a peak that high on most roofs, but okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, just like when I did the square the other day, the cube, I'm going to run my points to my vanishing point. So the top of my roof is going to meet that vanishing point. Again, if you're doing this, I really recommend you laying your, yep, there it goes. I'm going to stand up instead because I'm bumping my ruler, and I'm getting my line all over the place. Okay. So now I want to do the same from the corner of my the other side of my roof here, or the bottom of my roof, I should say, back to that vanishing point, keeping my ruler as straight as I can if I'm working with one. I kind of got it, not really. Okay. So now, this line here needs to be parallel to this line. So the back of my roof line needs to be parallel with this line. So I'm going to turn my image towards me for a second so that I can see what the angle is. One way to do that is to put your ruler to that line, back it up like that. It's probably not going to be very straight or seem like it's following the same angle, but it will be close enough for me right now. Then from that corner of that line right here, I'm going to bring my line down. Actually, I'm going to bring my corner of my house. This perspective is looking pretty funky. Okay, and I'm going to bring so I brought the corner of my house. So in this perspective, I'm really looking head on again, kind of. More so if I were drawing, if I had more space, if I could put my house over here instead, I could have seen the bigger picture of this side wall of my house. But I'm working on a really narrow plane right here. So it's going to be very narrow. I'm looking, you know, really kind of, I'm standing in this image. I'm probably right about out here and getting a glimpse of what this part of my house looks like, but more so I'm seeing the front of the house. Okay, from this corner of the roof, I'm going to bring my line down so it is parallel to this line here. And again, I'm going to just line it up with this line here. And I'm going to move my ruler over, stand up so I can see that line. And there is my house. Now, it's really, really simple, right? But it gets me thinking about perspective and using that vanishing point, getting roof lines and walls kind of squared up. I'll take and I'll erase all my lines to my vanishing point. I'll keep my roof line, keep my house walls, but I'm going to erase all those other lines. And then from there, I can start to put in the details of my house and windows, doors, shutters, whatever, shingles, whatever it is, fence posts, whatever I'm going to add to the exterior of this house, I can then add. And I can forget about this vanishing point, unless I'm going to do something like, a fence line or a light pole or something like that, where I still want to work with dimension and vanishing point. Okay, so tomorrow I'm going to bring this back and I'm going to add more details as we work. Okay, so I hope that you too have also worked with perspective this week. And it's not for everyone drawing a linear, it's not for everyone using a ruler, is not for everyone, but some people love to work this way. And it helps us just think as we're painting or we're drawing about how would a roof look? How would it get smaller as it disappears into the distance? You can see my lines are a little bit wobbly, but again, when I lay this down in front of me, like I really encourage you to do, if you're working on this, lay your paper down in front of you so that you can really see what you're working on. I can't. I look at the screen to see what I'm working on, but it's still, it's a backwards image to me. So happy art making. I'll see you back here tomorrow at 11, and good luck with all your perspective. Have a great day.